All right. Live at 5. Let's do it. When you guys make it in here, let me know where you're watching from. Wanted to go live yesterday, obviously. Holiday. Most people took the day off. Some of us did as well. But today we're going to be looking at some deals out here in the Polk County area, so wedged between Tampa and Orlando. Opportunity to talk about the area. This is one of our more popular areas that people reach out to us about. So, if you get in here, make sure you let us know where you're watching from. Opportunity to ask questions. We're going to look at what areas are, advertising some deals. We're going to talk about buyer leverage today, one of the pillars of our built method that we follow. So make sure you hit the like button when you're in here. Let me know where you're watching from. I definitely got a feeling we're going to be getting some South Florida people in here, maybe some Jersey, and I'm going to give you one more. Let's go Georgia. We had a Georgia person reach out today, so I'm just going to swing Georgia. So if you're in here, let us know where you're watching from. Make sure you definitely hit the like button. So what we're seeing in the market this week, some of the deals that we've put together, nothing extravagant. We're seeing more builders put together these ARM-type loans where they're, advertising very low interest rates up front. And then towards the back end of the loan, it's a little higher. I don't know if you guys know how we feel about those, but if you can afford those later years and they're still well under the national average, for example, if you can get a first year at a 2.5, a second year at like a 3.5, and then a third year on at a 4.5 with no penalties if you refinance, 4.5 is well below the national average. So, but there's also some of them that you need to definitely keep an eye on. But we're seeing some more builders do these ARMs here. On the to-be built, we're seeing 30, 40,000 in the design studio with closing cost assistance, and we're helping families get more on the back end as well. So we got an instance where we got, I guess this week, a family $10,000 more in closing cost assistance, and I forget what maybe like 20,000 in design studio credits extra on what they were already asking for. Pembroke Pines, I was correct. There we go, South Florida. There's our South Florida. So now we're waiting on Jersey and we're waiting on a Georgia person. If you're in here, make sure you hit the like button. Let us know where you're watching from. And we're going to hop in here talking about Polk today. And definitely one of the subjects I want to talk about as a learning moment for everybody, even if you're not considering Polk or Central Florida, is buyer leverage and how important it is. And I talk about the market that we're in now, especially with new construction, a lot different than it was 5 years ago, 4 years ago, when everybody was moving to Florida or there just wasn't that much inventory, and builders can just say, I want over asking from what we're looking at, because if not, I got 20 people behind you waiting and I'm not going to give you incentives, to now where naturally the buyers have a little bit of the leverage right now, but there's still ways that you can maintain leverage to get the best deal. So just going to give you some tips and tricks on that. So videos for the week before we get started that we're going to be releasing this week. We have a closing video that's a pretty interesting story, how our buyers were left outside of the door after they've signed their papers to close. It was actually a happy ending there. Everybody was happy, but there was a little bit of a situation that we ran into that's going to be dropping tomorrow. We have a community breakdown on Graceland Grove and Haines City. All right, if somebody's considering Haines City, affordable options out there, there's about 12 homes available. I think that's going to be releasing the next day. And then we did a community breakdown on Crestwood Estates by Homes by West Bay in Valrico. All right, so those are going to be dropping this week. Let us know where you're watching from. Michigan. Hey, we got a Michigan in here. How's Casa Fresca at Windstone? So Casa in general. All right, let's just talk about that real quick. They're cut from the cloth of Homes by West Bay, which we're doing a breakdown on about 2 days from now. And now they're not a national builder. They're a local builder. They're from Tampa, the Tampa area. And Casa is kind of the sister brand of Homes by West Bay. Homes by West Bay is this big level 3 semi-custom product. You go to the design studio. The houses that we're breaking down this week go up to about 1.3, and that's on more of an affordable end. And then the owner apparently wanted to put together a more affordable options, hence Casa Fresca was rolled out. They're very iconic for their kind of beachy. This is a Casa home right here. If you can see, I don't know if you can see my cursor. Here you go. This is a Casa home right here. So the very beachy fronts, they've kind of slowed down from some of those vibrant fronts there. But they actually have a product that they put out with gorgeous backsplashes, higher ceilings. So it's like a level 1, but they've kind of bumped it up some. But for an entry level product, they're pretty good. Make sure you reach out to us about that community there so we can get you some info on it. Okay. Let's see. We've got another Jersey, Kevin that stopped in here. Okay, so let's take a look at what we got going on. Scenic Terrace. Anybody in here heard of Scenic Terrace? I know my head's in the way here, but here's a Casa Scenic Terrace up to $17,000 off. Scenic Terrace, love the community, Lake Hamilton area, right off of Highway 27. It's one of those bigger communities with multiple builders in there. A lot of them are level 1, scratching the surface of level 2 builders. So it's for people that are looking for affordable options, you're definitely going to find some good options out there, right? And talking about buyer leverage, there's no better way to have buyer leverage than to go to a community like this and having more than one option as an option A. So we like to say having an A and a 1A, right? 1A, right? So like, let's just say, for instance, Casa Fresco, we wanted to go in and, we customize this offer for you that's based on your needs and what we think we can get you. And we go in there and Casa says no. I don't want you to be heartbroken. Like, I want to be able to tell them, if you don't do this for us, we're going to go across the street and there's something else that they really, really love. And that's what we're going to, end up jumping on. And so if you don't, in your heart of hearts, have that secondary option, you don't really have leverage, right? Because at the end of the day, we don't want you to lose the home that you really do like. But it's our job to give you some alternatives. And that's one way, and we're talking about buyer leverage here, that's one way that we like to utilize buyer leverage for you guys. I'll get calls from our agents every now and then. They're like, hey, look, we're trying to get this deal done, but, we don't, the builder's being a little hard on accepting the offer. And my answer to them, or my question back, is always like, well, what if they say no? Like, what's the second option? So I always want to try to have some sort of secondary option so we can leverage that. Okay. Let us know where you're watching from. Hit the like button. So here goes Windstone right here. Somebody was just asking about Windstone. Did we say Windstone in here? Let's see here. Yep. How's Casa at Windstone in Davenport? So Josh, one of our agents, Epoxy Josh, really heavily involved in Davenport. I'd love to get you hooked up with him so we can get you more information on that. Off the cuff, I can't tell you the Casa product that they do have out there, but it looks like, that Meritage is out there as well. I would say Meritage and Casa almost similar in a way. When you walk into their homes, it kind of feels somewhat similar. Meritage can go level 2 and up, and Casa is more of that level 1 product, but some similarities in some of their floor plans, in my opinion. So up to $10,000 there. Let's see here. If any of you have considered Polk, let me know what part of Polk and why. Here. Okay, Lawson Dunes in Haines City, Florida. Let's see here. Casa Fresco Homes again. So, hey, listen. During these lives, we've been developing patterns in every single live on like who's dropping throughout the board, regardless of community, right? Toll Brothers was our first live. Last week, I got to go back and check who it was, but we were in the Tampa area, the Wesley Chapel King. We had him on, and he was grinding it out with us. So here's Season at Shores of Lake Dell, Richmond American Homes. Richmond was one of our best value builders of the year last year, up to $10,000 off. We've been getting crazy deals with them. But I would say this, that's one of the builders. You have to have the right reps. We talk about having insider builder access. And, having the right rep for us is huge. But I think more importantly for you guys out there is knowing who you should not. I hate to say this, but it's true. There's some reps that you should not be working with, right? They're clocking in. They're not passionate about it. And then they clock out. And to you, you're just another number. And to us, we don't want that to be the case here. So we try to get you the best reps to work with so you can cut through all the BS. The Groves at Stewart Crossing. Listen, people, listen. So up to $17,000. I think 2 days ago, we just put together a contract out here with one of our clients, and we got a really, really good deal. But remember, this is what they're advertising out here, right? But Groves at Stewart Crossing, their amenity center just opened up. This is in Bartow. If anybody's considering Lakeland or South Lakeland, this is a great alternative. Meritage Homes out there. Villamar, Meritage Homes again, up to $25,000 off. An affordable community. Look at that, $285. Right, and then they do the pavers, driveways out there as well. So Bradbury Creek by Meritage Homes, again, $20K. So look, we're getting something going on here. How was everybody's holiday? Let me know. You guys do anything? Did any of you work? Were you stuck working, or did you take the holiday off? Windsor Reserve, Stanley Martin Homes in Eagle Lake. We have a few clients that are out there, up to $25,000 off. Level 1 product. That's where my head is at on the screen right here. Level 1 product. But take a look at the exterior. Here, let me just click on it. Let's do that. Make it easy for you guys. So Stanley Martin. So level 1 product. So when we talk about level 1 meaning you don't get to select options, right? You don't go in there and say, I love this lot. I want this floor plan on there, and I'm going to choose package A. Like, you don't get to do that on a level 1 product. They pretty much say, hey, I'm going to build these homes throughout the community. If you like this model, there's 2, 3, 4, 5 options for you to choose from already built. Hence, in our mind, we call that like a value builder or an entry level product. We call it level 1. You don't typically see this stuff on level 1, right? Like the stone elevation, the paver driveways. Look at the pillars right here, right? So, we've always thought that they've done a pretty good job for that entry level. Let's see if this is going to, yeah, they're talking about Legoland and all that good stuff. So just wanted to click on that. Looks like they're, they have some opportunities out there. Dash said he or she had to work. I apologize, Dash, but, there's nothing wrong with working. If it was up to me, I would work like every freaking day, every day. Kind of do work every day as a realtor, right? There's always something going on. I would say the weekends are the most busy for sure. Okay, let's see what else we got going on here. If you guys have any questions, drop them in there. Sorry I couldn't, give you my opinion on that CASA community in Davenport, but I have the man for you on the team. All right, so make sure you reach out to us about that. All right, so Lake Hamilton, Scenic Terrace, again, Taylor Morrison. Once again, I was talking about Scenic Terrace in Lake Hamilton and how there's a lot of top of level 1 products, but there's also level 2 products. Our most expensive home that we've helped somebody buy this year was a Taylor Morrison product in the millions, right? So they're cut from the cloth of these big homes, but you can go out here and get something for $297. And so they're giving, they're saying up to $20,000 in savings. That's an area that I actually really, really like. They actually have Port 27 just on Highway 27, not too far, maybe 5 minutes outside of the community. I thought that was a real good value for the area out there. But, if you're coming to the area, if you're working with one of our agents, and you're considering affordability, actually, hopefully we can, get one of our Miami people today that reached out to us. This is an area for you that we're going to get you hooked up with for sure. Okay, and then you have Stanley Martin, Scenic Terrace again. Here we go. Stanley Martin, Scenic Terrace. This is popping up. So multiple builders in Scenic Terrace. And check this out, right? Starting at $279. Scenic Terrace is probably 45 minutes to Disney, right? So if you're chasing affordability and you want to be in that kind of general theme park area and not necessarily in the back door, opportunity here. But check this out. Look, level 1 product for sure, but you got the stone, you have the pillars. I like it. It's a good look. Definitely a good look. This is that's a community that we would love to just get some hardcore negotiating for you guys. Make sure you guys hit the like button if you get in here. So before we go on this next page here, we were talking about buyer leverage, right? And like how we didn't have leverage when COVID was around because of not enough inventory, so many people, builders were not nice. Now they're being very nice to us. Having that plan B or that 1A is extremely important because once again, I don't want to fake it when I look at a builder and I say, if you don't do this for us, I'm going next door. I want to be real about that because there's a chance that they just say, just go next door, right? So having those multiple options that's going to help you out a ton. But what we do in-house is we do something called the pre-tour huddle, right? So we like to huddle up as a team. We like to huddle up with family members and just make sure that when we are walking into these model homes and we're looking at the product, we can fall in love, right? But the objective is not to show the builder that you're in love with the home, right? We want to maintain and this is a little clever trick, right? And it may be, a little crafty, but it works, right? You don't want, the moment they know you love the product, they don't have to do that much more to get you to sign paperwork, right? And we want to make sure we're getting you the best deal. So we always, in our huddle, we're like, hey, look, you're going to love the home. I don't want anybody to know you love the home. We're going to huddle up afterwards and we're going to talk about it. Even better if we can do the same thing at multiple places and you love multiple homes, right? So buyer leverage for us, in order for us to unlock incentives, which we'll talk more about next week, you got to maintain buyer leverage, right? So for any of my DIYers out there, like don't say you love the home, have that straight face. All right, here we go. Reserve at Van Oaks in Auburndale, Meritage again, 38,000. Man, this community has been open forever. They need to sell out. Look, 269.9. Wow. Starting at 2699. From Texas. What's up, John? What part of Texas are you from? Believe it or not. So like we have our team out here crushing it right now. We're working on getting a Texas team put together. There's so many new construction homes out there in Texas. My brother lives in Texas. I don't know much about Texas, but that's why we want people that live in those areas helping people like you out, right? It'd be wrong for me to sell you a home in Texas, and I don't live out there. But like if we have people that are living in these communities and agents that understand our process, that's what we want to start to build out there. But what part of Texas? Jason B says, shout out to Chris for all his help. Moving from Miami to Orlando next week. Always enjoy your videos. Shout out to you. Were you one of the blue tape walkthroughs that he was at this morning? He was at like 3 blue tape walkthroughs. Missed our whole team meeting today, helping people out. Shout out to you. There goes another one of our South Florida people there. Okay, so this is a good question from Dave. All right, do you get the same leverage if paying cash versus financing a home? So I would say this: structuring an offer for finance versus cash, 2 total different things. Your closing costs are going to be different. Plus, knocking the price of the home down for everybody out there, that is the last thing that the builder wants to do. When they knock the price down of the home, everybody gets to see it, right? So if they sell you Dave, if they sell you a home for $250, right, because you have cash, but they're selling it to everybody else for $300,000, it's going to mess up appraisals for everybody, right? And so getting credits, how much credit can you get from the builder? And that's how we structure our offer. So you may essentially pay $300,000 or, that's just a hypothetical. And what we try to do is work a credit to get you down to $250. But yes, to answer your question, you do have a little bit more leverage because there's less chance of, there's a lot of people out here when homes come back to market, they just back out of the deal or their financing falls through. That's less worry that they have about that when you do have cash. Plus, it could potentially be a quicker close if it's a move-in ready home. So we like to use all of the strategies that we have into cash, and we just structure the offer slightly different, right? And we're reaching the end of the year, the fiscal year, for a lot of these builders. So we're seeing Meritage right now. They're dropping a lot of their prices right here. Right, they're dropping a lot of their prices, so they're trying to get some deals done before some sort of time frame. And so, like you with cash, we've closed a home this year. I think it was 11 days. It was the fastest closing I've ever been a part of with cash. So it's possible, definitely possible. All right, watching from Davenport, thinking of resizing. So resizing, are you going to move up or are you moving down? There's 2 types of resizing, but thank you for stopping in from Davenport. We're in Polk today, so we're talking about your area out here as well. So all good questions here. All right, let's see if we can find some more things. So Brooklyn Park in Auburndale, Taylor Morrison. Listen, we talked about value community. So we said the Grove at Stewart Crossing. This is another one right here. No CDD, low HOA. I told you we helped somebody purchase a Taylor Morrison this year in the millions, right? They build these big, nice homes, but in some of these other areas, they'll really kind of level 1, level 2 it down to get, obviously the demographic is totally different out here than it is, going into some of these higher end areas. So, but take a look at a product like this. I wonder if that's even in Brooklyn Park. Let's see. Next week, you guys are going to have a video where we talk about how builders, they market to you guys, right? So they'll say a number, and then when you go in there, the number is like, we can't give you that because we want to give you closing costs too, right? So we're going to bump the price up, and don't fall for that stuff. This is a Brooklyn Park home right here. So Taylor Morrison, cut from the cloth, level 3, like really high end. And, if you want a community that has amenities, no CDD, lower HOA, we have a few people out here closing on some homes out here. So we have a few people that already live out here, and we have a few under contract right now as well. So good value community for sure. All right, she says, I have a 2-story looking for a 1-story. Right up my alley. Okay, so we're getting somewhere, but do you want like a bigger 1-story, or do you want less rooms, less square footage? And then a good question for you, for everybody out there, right? Like, so you live in Davenport right now. do you want to stay in Davenport? Do you want to move somewhere else? Like, I would love to hear your thoughts of Davenport since you've been living in Davenport for a while, for everybody out there. Because we get a lot of people that has questions about Davenport. It's a popular area, close to Disney, affordable, a lot of traffic. All right, so let's see here. I got to scroll back down. Yeah, I'm about to ask the same question. They advertise 499 rate, and then the estimates are like 599, 625. Listen, this is what they do, right? They'll say, hey, we're going to give you a 499 rate, fine print, if you qualify. And then they put $30,000 in flex cash, right? And a lot of times, which is sad, is that some of these people get close to the closing table before you realize, like, this isn't the rate that I wanted. And they're like, well, remember that 20 grand or 30 grand I was going to give you? You know, you wanted to pay your closing costs with that. You didn't want to throw it at the rate. And you're like, I thought you guys said that we were going to get both of that, right? So watch out for that. Watch out for that, right? And also, sometimes it's about how you qualify. Some of those promotional rates are qualifying for those promotional rates, right? So if you don't meet the qualifications, then they want you to pay some out of pocket for that to cover what it would cost to buy it down. You're probably like, I'm not paying out of pocket, hence the rate change there. But listen, you got to go in there understanding those things, right? So hopefully you guys are working with one of our agents to help you out with that. So we already said Lawson Dunes by Meritage. Okay, Brooklyn Park. There's Meritage again. Pops up again. Scenic Terrace again. Richmond American Homes. Who wants to shop in Scenic Terrace? I thought I wanted to get away from all the traffic, but I love the stores in my area. Listen, Davenport is doing a lot, especially on Highway 27. Obviously, you're close to a lot of shopping out there with Posner. But, you know, Highway 27, I think they're bringing a Sam's Club, I want to say, to Highway 27. You got, I think, BJ's out there at Posner, Dick's Sporting Goods. You got a lot of shopping right there. And I tell you what, the new lane that opened up on I-4 helps a ton. Current market. Okay, what do you suggest the better quality builder with the best incentives in the current market, Tampa region? Oh, I really don't want to shout that out over camera, but there's a few of them, right? And my thing would be, what's your price point? Because that's going to determine a lot. Because there's some quality builders with some good incentives in the current market that are getting close to the million. As you start to get a little lower, they get a little tougher to find. But I want to find out what level you're at. Are you a level 2, level 3, where you want to build your home? You know, go to the design studio. All of that stuff does matter. Okay, so let me know. All right, so let's see here. Sutton Preserve in Eagle Lake. People. Okay, check this out. We have a few clients out there. Check this out. Once again, we've wheeled and dealed with this builder here. And by the way, you gotta have the right rep with this one for sure. I tell you what. But we've been wheeling and dealing with this one here. But take a look at this garage here. This community was the first community I've ever seen with this RV garage, and now they're implementing this in a few areas in the Central Florida region, maybe 3 or 4 other communities. Isn't this freaking cool right here? Like, what would you guys do with that? You go in there, I mean, you could do so much. And they have some nice homes for budget, right? So one of our best value builders of 2024 for what we've gotten people finish-wise and deal-wise for what they give you, right? Much like the other builder we were talking, that's not a Scenic Terrace home there. Much like Stanley Martin, what we were talking about, where the exteriors look a little different than some of those level 1 products. If you're in here, hit the like button for us. If you could, talking about Polk, Central Florida, Lakeland, Winter Haven. Question for you guys, right? If you're considering Polk or live here, which part of Polk County would be your number 1 option for new construction if you could, right? Like, what city rings? You have Davenport, Lake Hamilton, Haines City, Auburndale, Winter Haven, Lakeland. Can't forget those 2 big. Like, when you look on the map, the first 2 that you see are Lakeland, Winter Haven. We have Bartow. Let us know. Love your show. Any updates on the Angeline? Really liking the potential. We just did an Angeline breakdown maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, but we have the Wesley Chapel King on our team, and he is like the man when it comes to that area. So let us know. We can get you hooked up. But like, we have a few clients out there. I asked them on the last time we did a breakdown, I was like, where's the lagoon, right? Because they sold us on this lagoon thing, and it's like, okay, here we go, a year and a half. We might have clients in there for 2 years now. Like, where's the lagoon? So no current updates on Lagoon potential, but they are doing a lot out there. Would love to know. I mean, we did our breakdown on the 55 plus out there. Mary says, Bartow. Someone says Davenport, Haines City, Davenport. Bartow's underrated. You want me to tell you guys a little secret? Can I tell you guys a little secret? I went to high school in Bartow. Ooh, Bartow, Yellow Jackets. All right. I'm not going to tell you any more about my personal life. Let's do it. So Stanley Martin again, up to 41,000. That's huge. That's in Haines City. Somebody just said Haines City. The Tampa area person said, which is John 123, $500,000 range. Would like to have the options: gourmet kitchen, stair railing, etc. Is Zephyr Hills an option for you or no? Zephyr Hills an option for you? How many bedrooms too? Let me know. Let's see what else we got. Scenic Terrace again, Starlight Home. So Starlight is Ashton Woods. Ashton Woods builds, like a good level 3 product, probably the biggest design studio in Central Florida, I would say. And much like we were talking about Homes by West Bay and Casa Fresca being that sister brand, Starlight is the same thing. But what are we noticing in Scenic Terrace, people? Like so far, 4 builders raising the flags like, hey, come buy me, right? So like, I want to shop out there. I want to shop personally, right? We were talking about leverage, having those 1A, 1B options. That came off the tongue a lot better than earlier. 1A, 1B options. Like I would love to have 2 or 3 of them, and like we should do a video where I wear the glasses. I don't know if I could disclose any of that stuff, and just go there and just try to wheel it, see what best deal we can get out there. What's the best deal we can get out there? All right, Meritage again, Springs at Lake Alfred. Love that area. We sell a lot in the Pulte community that's just south of that. And then we actually had a client that just closed last week in the community that's, I think it's Eden Hills, just south of that as well. But that whole Lake Alfred area is like very, very undervalued. And, it's kind of caught up, but like proximity to Disney. And now that I-4 lane has really opened up some of that congestion there. It really opened up options. By the way, if you guys want to shop like this, you can go to morefla.com, scroll down. You could shop by location right here. Same thing. Same thing's going to pop up for you guys, okay? Make sure you hit the like button if you're in here. So Scenic Terrace, loving that. Springs at Lake Alfred, cool. All right, let's see what else we have. Really love your videos. Give me a good idea of how things work there. Love it. Where are you from, John? Let me know. And why aren't you working with one of us? I'll be working with one. So one of the videos we're dropping this week where we were talking about our family that signed and had to wait outside of the home. I think that releases tomorrow or the next day, maybe tomorrow. We were working with them for well over a year, I would say. And so, I would say, and if we're talking about leverage, right, having those 1A, 1B options and how important that is to see alternative areas so you can gain a little bit of leverage. Start now, right? Start early, don't wait until it's the time to buy. Like we won't complain if it's the time to buy. We're going to help you out regardless. But like, I think you can gain more understanding, if you jump in now and start figuring that stuff out. So, but I'm glad you're getting value on some of this stuff. So love to help you with any of that. All right. Gum Lake Preserve at Lake Alfred by LGI Homes, up to $40,000 off. That's right across the street from the Pulte community. I don't know why I'm not saying the community, but we have a lot of clients out there. Love the area. So Gum Lake, so LGI Homes, I mean, that's another one of those builders like we talk about all the time. Don't go to the builder without representation. Like they have a strategy in place, right? Let's just say you even have an agent that's on your side. Like back in the day, like we didn't sign these buyer broker agreements back in the day, right? We would just like, hey, I'm working with you. Let's go. Love you. And we'd go over there and we'd go all the way through the contract process. And then I remember one time our clients had to fill out a questionnaire. This was after we were under contract. And on the questionnaire, I was like, how did you hear about us? And guess what they checked? Mailer. Kicked me out of the deal, right? So, and poor people, like essentially had to work for free because they were first-time buyers. They were scared, hence the reason they had assistance. And this is like way back in my early days. But I felt bad for them, man. And that was just one of those things that showed me that, like, man, these builders this market is a little different than what it was then. Like, let's just say that, right? And I always have that chip on my shoulder for my people for that. So although we're like getting a lot from these builders, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get a lot. Because like I've been on the other side and it's not fun for anybody. Zephyr Hills, definitely an option. 3-4 bedroom flex from Texas. We'll be connecting with the team soon, figuring out the area. Okay, so I would say MI Homes, possibly. Like, that's a good kind of mix. I would say it's not the highest end, but like it's that good level 2 product. The warranty is solid. If we can find you a Pulte in the area, that's solid as well. But like, we're gonna get you probably hooked up with Chris or Corey out there in that area, so you can really dig in. I have people on the team that live in these areas to help understand, right? So like, for me to give you a great understanding of a breakdown of that Tampa area, Pulte actually has a product too. So we just broke down a Pulte community that 2 things too. And I would love to know, like, would you consider Plant City? How close do you have to be to Tampa? Like, these are all the questions that we'd go through in our consultation. So, but because there's more opportunity, but maybe in areas that might not pop off, they're not highly searched, and so we have some good opportunities for you. So Bradbury Creek, Haines City, this is Casa Fresca Homes, all right, popping up again, 15.5. We did Gum Lake already. Let's get through this. Marion Creek, Haines City, Taylor Morrison again. Check that out, 299. Crosswinds, why did I click on that? Let's see, Crosswinds, Meritage again. So hey, listen, let's open up the Meritage opportunity out there. Like, we just, once again, like I think 2 days ago, we've helped one of our subscribers go into contract with a Meritage home. We got a really good deal on it, and they're showing us here. If you're shopping, go to morefla.com, go down. They're showing us here that there's opportunity in a multitude of their communities. They want to sell homes, right? And so maybe they're approaching the end of the fiscal year. Maybe there's some sort of goal that they need to hit. And so, like, we don't see it as let's go get $21,000 off, because that's what they're saying. We see it as like, the dinner bell is ringing. Let's go squeeze what we can. We want you to love the place too, right? Like, we don't want to do it just because the number's right. Okay. Would love to know too in the comment section, anybody considering resale? Because we talk a lot about new construction out there. There's a good amount of resale in the market as well. John123 says, looking at MI Homes in Dade City versus Zephyr Hills. Well, yeah, we can give you some ideas of the difference between price points out there. But yeah, MI is kind of right up your alley at that price point, I would say, for sure. Okay, so Windstone Davenport by Casa Fresca Homes. Once again, we're seeing that $17,000. Up to Bradbury Creek, Meritage again, 24. I'm not going to act surprised this time. Hamilton Bluff, Meritage again, 20,000. Okay. Davenport, Preservation Point by Landsea Homes. So 2024 was like a Landsea frenzy for us. We got so many good deals. It wasn't our value builder of the year, but like, they were building like crazy. Actually, we just had a listing in Preservation Point that just sold. So, but it was, Landsea was one of those builders. Like, they have these 2 floor plans. I think it's called like man, my clients are going to kill me. You help me with it. I love the floor plan. But there's 2 of them. Sebastian is one of them, and the other one is, I can't remember. Either way, really, they're put together very nicely how they were like structured. So a lot of these 2-story homes can get very boxy and bland and mundane. But when you go inside of some of those Landsea products, you have the big islands in there. And then I love where they're putting the flex space. And so Preservation Point, I will say that there are some negatives to that community. Let me know if you want to know those, if you reach out to us. But, Landsea's still selling out there. They probably should only have a few lots left. They should be sold out. Hawthorne Ranch. Okay, here we go. So Lakeland doesn't really have a lot of new construction options that are these level 3-esque options. I will tell you guys this. Lakeland is a very dense city when you get inside of Lakeland. And there's a lot of beautiful custom builders when you get into South Lakeland, where people are buying these lots, tearing down an old home and building gorgeous custom homes. And so MI came into Lakeland and Hawthorne Ranch, and they bring this level 3 product to a demographic, right? Because they're building multiple out there. And so they weren't selling, but we have a lot of clients that we've gotten deals out there because they took this swing in an area where they probably shouldn't have. And I'm not saying it's an area that, is a kind of a low income area. No, it's not at all. But you have a lot of these level 2 products out there. Level 1, there's, Casa that's out there. There's DR Horton that's out there. And then here comes MI with these big stone exteriors. Boom. And they overpriced a lot of them for the demographic. And so we took opportunities out there. And this is in South Lakeland. So A very slow start to them. It looks like, they're still making some sort of adjustments, but for South Lakeland, once again, good custom homes out there, but to see a community of homes that are, near a bunch of level 1, level 2 products, they just kind of overpriced the area. So we took advantage of that. But either way, Hawthorne Ranch, we saw value out there. We took some swings. Let's see. I got to get back down there. Let's see. And here we go. Lakeland. Oh, no, that's not. So Hawthorne Ranch, this one right here doesn't have a drop. Last page, Bittersweet. Let's see here. Winter Haven, Villamar, Meritage again. Let's not act surprised. Deer Run at Crosswinds, Meritage again. Let's not act surprised, people. Let's not act surprised. Hamilton Bluff, DRB Homes, okay? Our first time doing business with DRB is when they've acquired a builder in Epperson Lagoon. And we started doing business with them, but they're popping up they're popping up everywhere now. So Hamilton Bluff, we might be doing a breakdown. I know a few of my agents have brought this community up. They've been out there with some clients. So I'm wondering if we're doing a community breakdown on it or if we just have some good insight, but somewhat of a level 2 product out there, right? Like where you can select some packages, but they may just be inventorying it out. But I know DRB is cut from the cloth of level 2, right? Where you select your lot, select a package, not necessarily structural design studio, but kind of a level 2 product out there. $10,000. The Grove at Stewart Crossing, this popped up again. Meritage, let's not act surprised. So this has been a really good community for us over the last year because in what we found out, so they had a few different series out here. Most builders do, right? And you see, right, a 3-car garage, right? So they had and this is level 2. Where you can select a lot and, they have a few packages that you can choose from. It's not necessarily structural and design studio, but like they have this signature series where it's the gourmet kitchen and the 3-car garage and the bigger lot. And then they had like a classic series. Don't quote me on those, but I'm just giving you an idea where it was like a 2-car garage, not a gourmet kitchen. And from what I was told, and by the way, disclaimer, I could be right, I could be wrong. But what I was told is that they're no longer going to do the signature series. And so there's a lot of these products out there, a lot of these homes out there that they built that has the gourmet kitchen, that has the 3-car garage and the bigger lots and finishes and stuff. And so we've been trying to help our clients absorb those before they stop selling those out there. But one thing about this community is the lots that are out there, there's these windy roads. A lot of times you have no rear neighbors, a lot of pond and conservation lots. And for the price point that we've been getting them at, one of our value communities, I think we closed one like a week ago and we just put one under contract out there. One of our subscribers a couple days ago. Good community. Get your questions in before we hop off. Not going to last too much longer. If you can, hit the like button for us, please. Okay. And then Horse Creek at Crosswind, Taylor Morrison. And those are townhomes out there. Up to $6,000 off. The Grove at Stewart Crossing. No. The Grove at Crosswind. My apologies. Casa Fresca townhomes up to $20,000 off. So, can I request a similar session for Zephyr Hills area? So go back. I hate to do this to you, but last week's Florida New Homes Report live. If you just click on lives on the channel, and you'll see that was it last week? Yeah, it was last week, and we did the Tampa area. We had Corey on, and we were talking a little. Actually, we brought up, I think in that live, we brought up the reason why MI was more expensive in the 2 communities you're probably looking at. Why one of them was more affordable than the other one. Very, very interesting. So take a look at that. If not, let's hop on a consultation call, and we could pull up a map and break it down for you guys, for you in particular, John. So. But go back and look at that. Let me know if that has a decent amount of information on it. We're being very broad and general on here, but we want to make sure that we're answering questions for you guys for sure. So drop your questions if you do have them. Trying to do this every week, trying to do it on Monday. I know it's Tuesday at 5 o'clock, but want to be able to answer questions for you guys as they come along. I thought you guys had some really good ones today, especially when it came to leverage and cash and all of that stuff. So the biggest thing is make sure, if you're doing it on your own, I would say like all of our new construction deals, our clients haven't paid us at all, right? So it's $0. But if you're doing it on your own, like make sure you're structuring your offers with intention, right? Don't just swing at taking the price down of the home. Make sure you have some intention. How much are HOAs running these homes average moving from Crystal River? Thanks. Wow. Are you selling a home in Crystal River? I love that area. Yeah, so in Polk, I would say on average, like if we can find you a community with no CDD, like we showed one today in Auburndale that might have had like a $70-something HOA, maybe touching 100, no CDD with a pool. Is your home on the market yet in Crystal? Is it on the river? I'm getting interested here. I might make a quick acquisition. Talk to me. But there's a few communities out here. Lower HOAs would be somewhere between $79, $100, and then if you add the CDDs, with the majority of these communities will have CDDs, you're going to be looking $200, $250 ish. Could be higher, could be lower. We'd like to try to find the sweet spot for you guys. If you don't care about amenities, let's find those communities that you don't have the amenities. Let's drop the CDD off. Let's hunt for those communities that don't have the CDDs and the lower HOAs. Try to save you guys monthly here. Oh, the home's under contract on the river. I'm so interested in looking at that home. I am. All right. Okay, cool. So here's a good question, right? How does the team guide when they have no idea about the area? Like me, I'm moving from Texas, so no idea about the areas. All I can see online is the price of homes. You're the perfect client for us, right? Like we want to turn over every stone for you and give you alternatives. Once again, we don't have vested interest in making sure you buy in a particular community or a particular area. So we want to show you everything. So what we would do is a map consultation if you reach out to us and you want to understand the geography of the areas. It's really going to boil down to this. I know you're talking about Tampa, right? Like you need to be in the Tampa area, but like why? Do you like the beaches? Are you going to be working there? Do you have family? Like let's find out those little pinpoints that relate to what you need and then build around that. Because if you are saying I like Zephyr Hills just because of the price points and you don't really care about what Tampa has to offer, let's show you some alternatives. Like I have some great alternatives for you where we can chase some of those things inside of the home that you want. Doesn't necessarily have to be out there. But, we could take as long as we want to make sure that you fully understand that. And my thing would be like, let's hop on a map. Let's understand the geography of the areas. I know that we release videos often, but sometimes those videos are kind of all over the place and in parts of Orlando and not necessarily zoned in on the areas that you want to be in. But it's real. The questions are going to come back like this, like, why? Why Tampa? There has to be a reason why that Tampa area. Is it a job? Is it family? Is it the beaches? Is it not the beaches? Is it the theme parks? So on and so forth. So I'm kind of bummed about send me an email, JL, about the Crystal River property. I want to see it. I do want to see it. Listen, I've been poking my head up there. I know that the floodplains there are slightly different, but I do like that area. Homosassa, that sort of area. Any updates on Angeline when it comes to the other builders? Yvonne, I would say reach out to us. We did a breakdown of Angeline, at least a 55-plus section of it, but we did a general kind of update as to what's coming on out there a few weeks back. And so we have the guy for you, right? Corey, the Wesley Chapel King on our team, understands Angeline up and down. You're the second person in the chat to ask about Angeline. I know you're talking about the builders there, but yeah, let me know. I'd love to get you connected with him so we can get you more details on that. I personally, like right off the top of my head, don't have any for you. Dream Finders is opening now in Angeline. The Wesley Chapel King checked in. I knew you were watching. He probably has an adult beverage in his hand, so he can't jump on. We can't work and have an adult beverage at the same time, right? Can't do that. He says Dream Finders is now open in Angeline. He saved the day for me right there. Love it. Move to Wesley Chapel in April. Love MI Homes. That's what Yvonne says. Hey, look, move to Wesley Chapel. We have another person in here, MI. We actually have one of our team members that just closed on an MI home too as well, right? So when we say that it fits a lot of people's needs, it's because of, people are doing it. We're helping families. We're getting feedback from them. Some of us are buying them. Chris purchased MI Home. Somebody said, John 123 so I felt like it's a good quality builder. Hey, there you go, right? So Corey, meet John. John, meet Corey. He's going to be reaching out to us. We're going to get him. He wants to learn the Tampa area a little more. We were talking about $500,000, quality. He wants to find the sweet spot that everybody wants to find, right? Affordable, not too expensive, but quality, not dumbed down when it comes to the finishes and, what they put as their standard features in the home. So, all right, with that being said, guys, hit the like button for me. Hit the like button. Like 1, 2, 3, like at the same time. Any other questions before we hop off? There you have it. Corey says, hey, John. When he sends an email, we'll get it over to you. All right, I'm going to let you guys go. Catch you on the next one.